Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to show you two things. First, I'm going to show you a 5-minute preview of a full 1-hour conversation I had with Roberto from ADP, the payroll company. Roberto is one of the executives, head of innovation over there. And we had a conversation about what both of us think that AI is going to do in the next year, 2 years, 10 years to affect our profession. The conversation was kind of podcast style. It's called How Forward-Looking Accountants Are Using AI Today. And I use a lot of examples of how I use AI. And he used a lot of examples on how ADP is thinking about AI. It's actually a really great conversation. So I'm going to show you 5 minutes of that. And then I'll put a link in the description where you can get access to their summit, their platform, where you can see the whole presentation and the other presentations that were part of this 4-hour event where they had a whole bunch of content. The second part of the video, when this is done, I'm actually going to jump to a demo I did to complement that talk. So after the talk, I told them, hey, I'm going to do a quick demo to kind of show examples of the very same things we were discussing during the interview. So I did a quick 25-minute ChatGPT demo of different examples that pertain to that conversation. You're going to find it very interesting. And that's going to be after the first 5 minutes of the interview happens. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy the video.
Products in the industry. Hector is a CPA with over 25 years of experience and is well known for his public speaking at industry conferences. He's also the host of the Reframe Conference, which aims to help accounting professionals rebrand themselves and their firms to be seen as innovative, fun, and creative. Roberto and Hector, over to you.
Thanks, Lacey. 2025 marks a pivotal time as we navigate the rapidly evolving landscaping of technology within the accounting profession. We all know that AI is a hot topic, and it isn't just a buzzword. It's a transformative force that's reshaping the way we approach business processes, decision-making, and client engagements. Today, I'm honored to be joined by Hector Garcia, who brings nearly 3 decades of accounting experience, to talk about how AI has the potential to revolutionize our practices, elevate our services, and redefine our client interactions. Hector, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's get started with the first question here. In the age of fast-moving tech, where do you see the future of the accounting profession?
So for accountants, it's going to be an interesting future in both the short term and the long term. In the short term, accounting professionals are going to start leveraging the tools to do some of the things that we used to do very manually. Mm-hmm. Some of those things could be replying to emails, could be doing simple tax memos, could be researching in a specific state on whether or not you are supposed to give a 2-week notice or a 4-week notice before you get rid of an employee, or how benefits are taxable or not if a new sort of benefit comes out. So some of the things that were very manual that we used to do, that we still do, that we're used to charging for, like this is our livelihood is doing those manual processes. We're going to start leveraging tools that are going to do that in nanoseconds. It's going to be in the short term. On the midterm, our customers will catch up. Right? They'll catch up in 2 ways. One, they will know that we're using these tools, and they will no longer expect for us to charge for that work, right? Because it's just going to be baked in. But at the same time, we're going to have external forces, competitors, innovators, software companies that are going to start entrenching into all of our territories. They're going to start entrenching into payroll, into accounting software, into accounting professional services. And our customers are going to have a different point of view in what accountants are. So as accounting professionals, our relationship with accounting will change. For customers, their relationship or the point of view of what an accountant is or what an accountant is supposed to do will change. And we have to essentially rebrand. The accounting profession has the brand that has basically the trust of people that we are going to research, we know our stuff, we studied, we won't do you wrong, we will give you the answer that you need. It'll be very nuanced, it will be very researched, it will contain some experience. That's the brand that we have now. And it's a great brand. I mean, CPAs, accounting professionals have the trust of their clients. However, these questions they have for their accountants, these tasks that the accountants used to do, our customers are going to start figuring out that the apps can do it, that their phones can do it, that ChatGPT or whatever can do it, and they're going to have a different perspective and a different point of view. And if we continue to brand ourselves as we do what we've always done, therefore you're going to pay us for that, our customers are going to start looking for the alternative just for the sake of economics and also for the sake of expediency. You know, if an accounting professional is not using AI tools to quickly deliver an answer, we're going to be essentially compared to that. Okay, just like my clients that are in retail or they're wholesalers or e-commerce, they're being compared against the Amazons, right? Against the 2-day free delivery, extensive inventory. We're going to have a similar competitor. Like, you know, the accounting professionals are the mom and pops versus Amazon of today when you look at our profession versus all the advancements of AI. So I believe that rebranding is our future. We have to rebrand our profession.
I think it's inevitable. So I think it's about embracing it and...
Okay, now I'm going to splice in part of that tutorial that I mentioned where I'm going to talk about ChatGPT and other artificial intelligence tools with some practical examples. Let's go. I actually use ChatGPT, Anthropic Claude, Google Gemini, Meta AI, which by the way, that one's still 100% free, Perplexity, and for accounting and tax specific AIs, I play with CPA Copilot or CPA Pilot, TaxGPT, and Spark by Writeworks. Now, I do pay for all these tools, and it's become a pretty big line item budget in our firm's P&L because I feel strongly that we should be we should get very comfortable with these tools because I believe this year, 2025, is going to be a huge year for artificial intelligence. And what I mean by that is I predict that in 2025, there's going to be huge headlines about things that AI is able to do that we have never imagined that it could even do. And not necessarily thinking that's going to be in accounting, but I think the applications of these technologies will seep into accounting and tax very, very quickly. So I believe that an accountant, an accounting professional, a bookkeeper, a tax preparer, a firm that doesn't use AI or at least knows enough about AI to be dangerous will be left behind really quick by a new generation of accounting professionals or a new generation of technology companies that are going to be encroaching into the accounting field. So I believe that every single accounting professional in the world should get comfortable with these tools. Now, for the purposes of this course, I'm going to be focused 100% on ChatGPT. Now, I will encourage you to, once you start using ChatGPT and feel comfortable, also take a look at Anthropic Claude. It's very powerful. Take a look at Google Gemini. Actually, I think Google Gemini is probably going to be the biggest surprise of 2025 because when they start integrating the entire power of the Google ecosystem, we're talking about Gmail, Sheets, Docs, Slides, Search, of course, and all the other things that Google has that has a wide audience, a huge group of people, and a lot of data. When they start integrating the power of all that, I think Google is going to blow almost all of these other tools out of the water. Meta AI, it's really cool because it's free, and they also have a open source edition. So pretty soon, I believe in 2025, you will be able to download Meta AI, or it's called Llama, into your computer, and you'll be able to do everything with your computers and even your phones power. Perplexity is cool because it actually combines multiple models. So Perplexity allows you to use ChatGPT, use Claude, use Gemini, use Meta, and kind of compare what it does. And Perplexity is kind of the most up and coming one when it comes to search. And I think Google is actually very much worried about what Perplexity can do or can change to the search world. I mean, Google for a very long time has had the monopoly on search, and Perplexity has really been the only big contender to that. And again, CPA Pilot, TaxGPT, and Spark, take a look at those because those were designed for accounting only or for tax professionals only. Anyway, let's get into ChatGPT and let's talk about some examples of things that you can do that can feel highly related to the accounting field. So I'm going to start pretty simple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to basically treat ChatGPT as a paycheck calculator. I'm going to ask ChatGPT to calculate a paycheck. I'm going to give it a whole bunch of parameters. Now, what's really cool with ChatGPT is you could talk to it. So you don't necessarily need to type. So I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to dictate, and you're going to see everything being typed to the screen as I speak, which will be the equivalent of me typing it. Hey, ChatGPT, I need help calculating a net paycheck, period. On January 1st, I got a job that pays me a salary of $147,000 a year. Now, I plan to put 3% of my gross salary into a 401k. I opted to get health insurance, which will deduct $378 from my paycheck. I also live in Los Angeles, California. I am married with 2 kids. Could you calculate what my first paycheck would look like? Okay, then I'm going to press enter and then just let it do its magic. So we'll wait to see the answer. Now, one thing you'll see in ChatGPT is you might see a little button that says analyzing, and you see what code is being written. So that's actually kind of neat. If you're kind of a nerd like me, you start seeing numerically how it starts figuring out how it's going to calculate. Now, I didn't tell it that it was, how it's going to get paid. So it assumed this biweekly. So it's really cool. You can see the code and see exactly what it's doing and how it's approximating the taxes based on state, federal, based on FICA rate. So it does all that. So I'm going to collapse, analyze, and then see what it does. So it says here, gross weekly salary is $56.53, then minus a 401k contribution, then federal taxes, health insurance deduction, net paycheck $29.86. Now I can get into the details of asking which of these are pre-tax, which of these are post-tax. Let me ask that. Which of these deductions are pre-tax versus after-tax? Okay, then we'll ask that question, see what it does. So it's telling me that 401k is pre-tax and health insurance is after-tax. And then it says federal is after. Yeah, of course, all the other taxes are after-tax, or they're done. Basically, what they mean is they're done after the pre-tax deductions. Okay, let me ask more here. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to get a non-taxable per diem of $150 for 3 days every month to pay for my travel. I'm also going to pay approximately a $500 reimbursement for gas. However, I don't have to give them receipts for gas. They give it to me automatically whether I use it or not. So you have to let me know whether that's taxable or not. And also, the company gives me life insurance, but I opted to get $100,000 coverage for my family, additional that I'm going to pay out of pocket, and that's about $67 a month. Okay, so we'll ask that. We'll see what it does, and it's starting to do all the calculations. So I figured out that there's a non-taxable per diem of $150 a month. So it's saying, okay, it's not taxable. And then we go the gas reimbursement, taxability. It depends. That's kind of an interesting piece. It says if tied to an actual business travel expense, it could be non-taxable, but then it needs to comply to an accountable plan. I did say that I'm not going to get receipts. And it says here, if no receipts are substantiated being required, it's considered taxable income. So that's actually pretty interesting that it actually gives you the nuance. I may have to tell it whether or not it's going to be. And then look at this. Additional life insurance is $100,000 to $67,000. It says a non-taxable. I wonder if that's 100% true. It may be worth looking into it. Since you're paying the premium out of pocket, it's not deductible, but also not taxable. Okay, so it just says that I can't reduce it. It's not pre-tax, it's after-tax money. And then it says employer-provided life insurance up to $50,000, generally non-taxable. Good. So it actually did all that. And then it's actually going through and saying what the next steps are. Let's tell it again. So give me the new paycheck amount. Okay, so let's see if now within that we got the original paycheck amount, then we have all this additional context to see what it comes up with. Now, I know what you're thinking. You might be thinking, but Hector, I could put a spreadsheet together and I can put the lines that are taxable and the ones that are non-taxable. And that's true. That's 100% true. Problem is, you will still have to build a spreadsheet. You will still have to know what's taxable and what's not taxable. And I get it. Once you do the research and build the magic spreadsheet that us accountants always rely on, then it becomes the most reliable thing in the world. But what's really interesting about this is you can have all these sort of conversational pieces and go back and forth to figure these things out. Look, it's making the per diem non-taxable. It's making the gas reimbursement taxable. The life insurance, making it out of pocket, not deducted from the paycheck. It actually assumed that every paycheck is going to be divided in half or whatever half of that $67 is. And then it calculates a new paycheck amount. So that's actually pretty interesting. I'm not going to go into the math. And I know that while you're watching this, you might, go in your spreadsheet and calculate, and maybe the math could be wrong. I'm actually not saying this is right or wrong. For the purposes of this course, I'm kind of going to move on. And I think if this happens to be wrong anywhere, or if you have a debate on whether one of these things are taxable or not taxable, I'm okay. I'm comfortable with things not being perfect. But what I'm telling you is I think that this is going to be the worst it will ever be. This stuff is just moving so quickly. So let me start a new chat and let's do another example. So let's say I'm going to tell it to help me prepare for an advisory engagement that I have with my client. And I'm going to give it some details and see what it can tell me. Hey, ChatGPT, I'm a CPA and I have a new client who is a marketing consulting firm. Last year, they did $700,000 in revenue. The year before, they did $850,000 in revenue. So they have a little bit of a decline. The customer told me over the phone that they're hopeful that things will pick up right now in 2025. I looked at the financial statements. The income and expenses are pretty stable. I did see admin and overhead expenses kind of go up in 2024, which is kind of weird because the revenue went down, but I guess that's inflation. I'm gonna have my first meeting, and I want to know what things should I look at, what discussion should I have with my client. I really want to impress them. I want to make them feel like I understand the industry. So give me a one-page summary of the points I need to be hitting. Okay, so then I press enter. Again, I haven't typed anything. I'm just telling it, and then it automatically builds the plan for me. So here's a one-page summary. It says acknowledge the situation. Right, start by expressing empathy that there's a revenue decline and some optimism for 2025. I notice there's a dip between here and here. It's great to hear you're hopeful for 2025. Let's discuss how we can set you up for success. So here we go. Establish your expertise. So highlight your understanding of the marketing consulting industry, monitoring trends like fluctuation, budgets, impact of inflation, operating costs, and the importance of maintaining cash flow in a volatile market. Let's do revenue trends. So ask them, so it's suggesting, ask them what influenced the decline. Were there fewer clients, lower spend per client, delayed projects, explore plans to attract 2025. Diversification, inquire about diversifying income streams, such as recurring retainers, project work, new service offerings. Let's do an expense analysis. Admin overhead spike, point out there's an increase in admin expenses. Ask what factors contributed to the rise, inflation, staffing changes, technology costs. What are the opportunities to optimize these costs without compromising quality? Great question. Benchmarking, offering to compare these expense ratios with industry averages. And then it talks about cash flow management and all tips about that, and strategic planning and tips about that, and tax efficiency and tips about that, and forecasting, tips about that, and wrapping up. So does that mean you need to print this and like a robot read off of it? No, but this should give you really great a way to get started, to kind of plan your call. And we can even go a little bit deeper. Can you give me the top 5 challenges that a company like this would have, so I can ask the questions assuming that I know, as if I have worked with many clients like this in the past? Just give me the top 5 challenges, make it succinct. Okay, so we'll hit send on that. And then here's my top challenges. So it says that number 1 is client acquisition and retention. So attracting new clients while maintaining existing relationships. The key question that it suggested me to ask is, what strategies are you using to retain clients and bring in new business? So great question. Then we got for pricing and profitability. So ensuring pricing reflects value and covers increasing costs. How confident are you that your pricing captures value you deliver? And then here's another challenge: irregular client payments for project-based revenue cycles. Question to ask is: do you experience cash flow gaps? How are you managing them? Scaling operations, balancing growth by raising, with the raising admin and overhead expenses. A great question to ask is: how are you ensuring operational efficiency as business growth and staying competitive in evolving marketing technologies? How are you investing to stay ahead of marketing trends? Let me ask another question. Could you give me the top 3 ways a marketing consulting firm could use AI to improve their business operations, or how can they use AI to hit their revenue target goals for 2025? So we'll hit send on that, see what it says. So there's 3 ways. So one of the ways is AI tools can analyze client data, identify trends, predict behavior, and recommend tailored strategies. Then we have AI can automate repetitive tasks like ad placement, budget allocation, et cetera. Enhance content creation. AI can use tools like ChatGPT, Jasper, Copy.ai to assist on high quality content. So again, it just gives you more fodder for you to prepare and discuss for smart conversations. Let's see. Let's ask one more question. A company like this, they're likely to ask me for monthly bookkeeping work using QuickBooks Online, an annual tax return, quarterly tax planning, and also semi-annual strategic advisory. How should I price a job like this? Okay, let's see what it says. And again, doesn't mean you're going to use the exact number that ChatGPT gives you. No, it doesn't mean that. But again, it could give you at least a framework to think about this. Okay, so it's actually going in there and breaking down each service. So here's my monthly bookkeeping. It's estimating 8 to 12 hours for depending on complexity. The benchmark is 500 to 1500. Then for the annual tax preparation, the benchmark is 1500 to 3500. And then for quarterly tax planning is 750 to 2000. And then for semi-annual strategic is 2,000 to 4,000 per session. And then it says here, decide the pricing model. So it's saying, hey, you could do a monthly subscription that combines everything between $2,000 and $4,000 a month. You can do tier pricing like a basic, premium, elite. And here's some ideas where maybe the basic, you only do the bookkeeping and the tax return. With a premium one, you add tax planning. With elite, you do everything, including the strategic advisory. There's also pay-as-you-go bundle services where they pay $1,000 a month for bookkeeping, and then they pay $3,000 a year for the return, and then they pay $6,000 for the planning and advisory, and then you combine them into a bundle, give them 10%. So just some ideas for you to think through that, and then here's just more detail about our estimated hours and that sort of thing. And you can start feeding it all sorts of things like what's your hourly rate that you want to charge, or if you don't do hourly rates and you do some other way of charging, maybe you do it based on output, and maybe you do value pricing, and you can feed it some value pricing philosophy per se, and it starts giving you some great ideas. Let's do one more, and this one's dear to my heart. Okay, so a couple of years ago, I had a couple of employees come to me and tell me, Hector, the inflation is high, and you're making us go back to the office after, they didn't say it, but very verbatim, but after we were very comfortable, working from home with the pandemic, and the gas prices are through the roof, and the work's a lot harder and more complicated, and we lost 1 or 2 employees, and the workload went up, and we all want to raise. Okay, so let's say, for example, I have an HR situation that I don't know how to manage, and instead of just saying, yeah, everybody gets a raise, I want to ask ChatGPT for some ideas of ways I can add more value to my employees without necessarily increasing my costs. Okay, so let's see what it comes up with. Hey, ChatGPT, I have an accounting firm with 10 employees. There's general discontent about a couple things. People were very comfortable about working from home. Now they're working back at the office. Gas prices are way up, so they see that as an additional expense. There's a lot of traffic, so it takes about an hour to get to the office. Generally speaking, people are thinking that their workload went up. We did lose 2 employees, in the last couple of years, and everybody is kind of up in arms and everybody wants a raise. However, I don't want to give everybody a raise because I don't want to set the bad precedent. We're not in the position to do that. Can you help me figure out some really creative ways for us as a firm to add value to our employees to increase their engagement and satisfaction without necessarily breaking the bank? Okay, let's try that. Let's see what comes up with. And again, I give it all this context because ChatGPT is great with context. Like if I were to just ask, give me some creative ways to increase engagement and satisfaction with my employees without giving it the context, it would just start typing, but it would actually use the context to figure out to give me a more detailed answer. Another thing you would notice here is that there's this thing called memory updated. So anytime that you tell ChatGPT something that has to do with you, your life, your circumstances, your business, and you say, this is happening to me, this is my current status, this is what's going on, it saves it into the memory. And what's really cool is you can click here, it says manage memories, and you can see the history of every single time you gave it some information that ChatGPT considers to be unique. And what happens is it starts learning and learning, and then all the context becomes a lot more personal. So because of my personal memory, when I ask another question in the future about my employees at my firm, it's going to take into consideration this new context that I gave it. So the answer in your ChatGPT could be different than my answer, which is amazing. And what's really cool is you have the option to do temporary chats. It's kind of like anonymous mode or like incognito mode. So if you click on anonymous chat here in this little checkbox, it will ignore the memory. So if you want to see what ChatGPT would answer without the memory context, you can essentially turn it off temporarily in a chat. Okay, anyway, so here's the answer. So it says the first thing says hybrid work schedule. So allow employees to work from home a few days. This reduces commuting time, right? Great. Okay, and then here's some flexible hours. Offer stagger start and end times to help employees avoid peak traffic. That's pretty cool too. So we got financial relief, commuting stipend. So provide a small monthly stipend to offset the gas and transportation costs, offset meals and snacks, offer free or subsidized lunch once a week at the office, encouraging people to come to the office. Workload management, temporarily support staff, so hire some part-time freelance people during busy times. Task streamlining, evaluate workflows and implement automation. Employee recognition, spot bonuses or gift cards to reward employees for exceptional work, one-time bonuses. Recognition problems, implement employee of the month and non-monetary rewards, maybe like a day off or reserve parking. That's pretty cool. Wellness program, offer wellness day per quarter for employee to rest or recharge, maybe pay for a massage or something like that, or spa day or something like that. Mental health resources, provide access to counseling and mental health. Professional development, so bring in some training, make a big deal about the fact that you're improving their knowledge, invest in online courses, workshops, conference that align with their career goals, mentorship, pair employees with mentors to help them grow professionally, team building activities, feedback loop. A whole bunch of stuff. Look, perks, work from anywhere Fridays, subscriptions and discounts, partner with local businesses to offer employee discounts. That's awesome too. Long-term incentives, profit sharing, clear career path. And I actually went through this situation and I used ChatGPT and it helped me. I gave it a lot more context, of course, in terms of how much people were getting paid and how long they've been in the business and what they value and what they told me their goals were. Like we actually went pretty deep into using ChatGPT to help me brainstorm. And it gave me really great ideas, and I have implemented it in my practice. And we haven't lost an employee, and we haven't, given these huge raises where you think that would be the only way to put out the fire. So we have been focusing on, creating a great environment for people to work on, and ChatGPT very much helped me think about ideas. So again, I just wanted to kind of give you a general idea so you're not sort of afraid of what ChatGPT can do. For the time being, this stuff feels a little bit like a novelty. I know it feels like, maybe there isn't much in terms of actually removing workload or actually replacing a human being. Like ChatGPT is still not going to reconcile your bank accounts. It's still not going to talk to your clients for you. It's still not going to fix accounting errors. But as you can tell, it's a great brainstorming partner. And never want to say that the purpose of ChatGPT is to replace humans. I think it's to enhance humans. And if you can embrace, the few things that it does now and feel comfortable with it, when a big change happens, when AI comes in and does something that's completely unexpected, we, the accounting profession, won't be caught by surprise. So my encouragement to you is to get at least ChatGPT. Take a look at the other ones. Claude, Gemini, they're great. But get really good at one, get really comfortable with one. Go into YouTube. There's hundreds of tutorials, if not thousands of tutorials. Some I've done in my own YouTube channel that are specifically to accounting. There are some examples where I throw a spreadsheet and I ask it to find transactions that feel off. Or in some cases, I take screenshots of like QuickBooks and say, hey, which of these transactions would help me reconcile? In some cases, I'll copy and paste a P&L or a balance sheet, upload a PDF of a financial report and ask it to write notes for me so I can put them into like a report package. In some cases, I put in a bunch of credit card transactions of things that I don't know what they are and say, hey, triangulate the company name, the amount, the city, and try to figure out what the expense category is based on this particular chart of accounts. And the thing will come back and, pre-categorize a bunch of transactions for me that then I can import into my accounting software like QuickBooks or whatever. So cool. I hope you found that helpful. So anyway, I'll put a link in the description below on how to access the ADP Summit that has the full interview and the other interviews that I talked about at the beginning of the video. Last thing I want to mention is you have the opportunity to come hang out with me, my brother, and 150 other forward-looking accountants in Coral Gables, it's Miami, Florida, November 2nd to November 4th, if you come to Reframe. We have a conference called Reframe Pricing with Confidence. We're going to talk about pricing strategies, how to create value for your customers, how to get better at that particular task, which is pricing your services better, so you can reinvest back into your firm, reinvest back into yourself in education, reinvest back into your team, and essentially create more value for your customers, all a positive upcycle. But one of the cool bonuses is that the pre-conference, which is on Sunday, November 2nd, which is a half day, that's the ChatGPT day. So I'm going to teach for a couple hours. I'm going to do a deep dive on the latest and greatest of ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. And it all be contextualized to this concept of creating value to our customers via the AI or pricing our services better because we have the AI. So that's all going to be contextualized as part of the conference. So if you like these AI topics and you want to come in person, check out the Reframe event. And come to the whole event, the 2.5-day event. We're going to release tickets just for the pre-conference later on in the year for the people that are local that want to just come to check out just the ChatGPT and the AI class. But for the most part, we encourage you to come to the whole event because there's a whole story to tell, right? There's AI, it's cool, it can do some things, but how does that translate into something that really matters to me? Like how does all these cool things you can do with AI translate to actually doing valuable things for a customer? How do these AI things translate to building a stronger brand for a firm? How do these things translate to be able to increase our prices, not lower our prices, because we're using this technology? So come to Reframe 2025. I'll put the link in the description too. It's reframeaccounting.com. Come join me. It will be a blast. Thank you. Hope you found this video helpful.